Hey, welcome back again to the Franchises Musings, me just running off at the mouth of the things I've seen and witnessed in our industry lately. Everybody's been asking since the Pittsburgh Con, the anime verse / Wrestleverse Fest, I think it was called, big mouthful. First of all, great time. Me and the Queen of Extreme, Francine, first appearance in Pittsburgh together in over 20 years. And my first major appearance in Pittsburgh in just a little over 10 years. Nice to be back in the Burgh, and love Pittsburgh. It's my home, obviously, and just pretty cool to be around your friends, neighbors, and fellow Pittsburghers, and getting the chance to appear there. Had a great time. Appreciate y'all coming out to the show. Now, at that show, there was a scuttlebutt on the first day, Saturday, that immediately permeated through the building. When Ric Flair was there, Lex Luger was there, Mick Foley was there, Kevin Nash, the Hardy Boys. There was quite a list of luminaries. Sting. And Sting was late getting there. I don't think he was set to appear until 11. The VIPs, I believe, started at 9:30 on Saturday. And somewhere around 10 o'clock, 10:15-ish, fans would start coming to the table and started saying, "Did you hear about Flair? Did you hear about Flair? Hey, did you hear about Flair? Hey, did you hear what Flair did?" And, Francine and I were, asked, "Hey, no, what happened?" And I looked over and Flair was gone. They had a backdrop, the hanging, you see the Nature Boy Ric Flair, table, picture set up. And I looked over, the tarp was gone, the tablecloth was gone, the pictures were gone, and the fans were gone. And Sting was just arriving. He was just getting there. It was his last appearance in Pittsburgh in the face paint. And fans in Pittsburgh turned out en masse to see that and get their picture with the Stinger and get the autograph from Sting. But Flair had disappeared. And almost immediately we started hearing fans. Now, you take with what the fans say with a grain of salt, because this fan will say this, the next fan will say that, and the next fan will say this in between. And so you sort of just wait out and think, okay, I'll wait till I hear. Then about halfway through the day, we started hearing from personnel with the anime verse, Wrestleverse, confirming what we had heard. Yeah, that's true. I saw that. Yeah, that's what happened. So we heard that Flair had gotten there, and because Sting wasn't there yet, there were a lot of people in line waiting for Sting. And the way it was told to us was that Rick left because he was pissed off that Sting had a longer line than him. First of all, to walk away from your fans, I don't care if there's 1 or 100 lined up. A fan that wants to see you will pay to get in to see you, will give money to get a picture or autograph or both from you, to stand in line for however long of time to get your autograph, your picture, your memorabilia. Understand what a blessing that is to us, that old farts like us can still come and have hundreds of people come up and buy a picture, buy an autograph, want to hear a story, tell you their favorite wrestler. What can be better than that in the realm of this business that we call professional wrestling? After 43 years in my case, and much longer in Rick's, how can you get up and turn your back on and walk away from fans that idolize you, that look up to you, that have followed your career, that were ready to hand money to you to get a picture or an autograph or a piece of memorabilia from you, a t-shirt, action figure, whatever? It's foreign to me. I can't do it. I never would do it because I realize at this stage of our career, this isn't just ho-hum, another mundane day to me. This is a day that I get to hear fans come up to me and tell me what I meant in their life as a fan of this sport. And the fact that anybody knows who I am after 43 years, the fact that anybody wants a picture with me after 43 years, one of the things that Francine and I, especially me, I've been getting a lot of lately, is some 40, 45-year-old person will come up to the table and they have a photograph. It's me with a little kid, 20, 30, 35 years ago. And it turns out that picture, that little kid, is them and they want to recreate that picture. How could I possibly look at that fan and go, nah, get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. Hey, next. Come on. Why would I do that? Thank you for anybody that's taken more than 30 seconds to watch the franchise character and come to the table and want to give me their money to get a picture, an autograph, hear a story, buy a t-shirt. How do I just say, hey, I got to go get a cup of coffees. Come back later. Or screw you, I don't need you. Yeah, get out of here. My God in heaven, I can't think of anything dumber. I can't think of anything colder or that makes you a bigger asshole than that. Now, I understand. Trust me, I understand kayfabe and I understand my industry quite well. There is a time for kayfabe and there is a time for engagement. And when a fan has spent $70 to get in that front door, to be able to get in your line, to give you money, you owe them just like you owe them when they buy a ticket and you give them a match. I hear some fans once in a while say something like this, and it pisses me off. Hey, you owe me. I came to watch you wrestle. And my question to that is, did I wrestle that night? And they say, yes. And I said, then our contract is complete. I owe you nothing. You owe me nothing. You paid for a match. I gave a match. So we're even on that level. That's not the right thing to say to me. But when somebody wants to come up and say, man, I loved your match, or man, I hated that match and what happened at the end, whatever the case may be, that means that they're taking time of their life. Remember, both God and the devil have dibs on his soul, the franchise line. Talk good about me, talk bad about me, just talk about me. Because if you're talking bad about me, you've invested time in the franchise. You've watched the franchise. If you're talking good about me, you've taken time to watch the franchise. And you've worked hard to understand what that character was attempting to do beyond just the visual of what he was doing. I would always try to imbue into my matches something a little bit more that the person that wants to spend the time to dig a little bit deeper than just the surface level go, oh, okay, I get it. I see what he's doing. That, again, golf clap, because that means you've turned those brain cells on, those neurons, and you're looking at what I'm doing in the ring and going, okay, I see what he's doing. I get it. Okay, it's great. Or I wouldn't have done that in the eye of the beholder, and the viewer gets to decide if they liked it or not. You can't go, what do you mean, jerk? That's not what I meant. I meant this or that. No, let them come to it. And that is a blessing for us that after all these years, and in Ric's case, again, a lot longer, that we have anybody that even cares that we're in that building and cares that they'll spend that money to get in the front door and cares that they'll come and get in our line and cares to ask you about a question they want to ask you face to face about something you did in your career. They've invested their time in these morons called professional wrestlers. And I don't mean to slight us. I've said in the past, in the overall scheme of things, what we do, pro wrestling doesn't rank really high in the pantheon of humanity. And I've been summarily corrected by a lot of you out there saying, hey, I was going through a bad divorce. I had this horrible disease. I got COVID. My parents just got killed in a car accident, whatever, fill in the blank. And you tuned into wrestling to soothe yourself, to forget about that crap of the world, that crappy boss you have, that horrible thing that happened to your loved one or whatever, that we were able to provide that. And I get it because, as you know, I'm a big Kiss fan. There were times when in my younger life where Kiss's music got me through bad stuff that was going on in my life. And so I stand corrected. But I still say it's a little more, the person that's researching cancer and trying to defeat cancer, that's a little bit higher on the pantheon than what we do. But I do understand that we play a role in people's lives. But that's also a blessing for us, that you're soothing yourself by watching us idiots do what we do. And I say idiots with quotations, right, with all the sense of love and respect for those of us that work hard in the industry and for the fans that buy into it, latch onto it, and analyze it. So again, back to Ric getting up and walking away to his fans and making it a point to say, I'm going to watch college football. Well, what you just told all your fans in Pittsburgh is, fuck off. The Ohio State game is more important. Fuck off. The Alabama game or Georgia game is more important. More important than somebody that spent their life watching you? idolizing you, following your career, more important than that fan coming up and saying, thank you for entertaining me when I lost my parents or got divorced or had that job firing? Man, I can't think of anything more disrespectful to those fans. And I hope the fans in Pittsburgh give Rick the welcome the next time he's in town that he's deserving of. For me, and just my 2 cents worth, thank you for anybody that's watched. Thank you to anybody out there that's followed my career. Thank you out there for anybody who sent a question in or came to my table to say, hey, franchise, just wanted to meet you, say I love you, or I couldn't stand you. Francine and I loved getting the boos because that's what we were there for. And we were pretty good at getting them. I just cannot imagine walking out. Like, if you're sick, whatever, lie before you just disrespect your fans like that. You're sick, you don't feel well, whatever. And that brings us to another thing about Flair. And I don't mean to keep harping because I'm going to go back and forth here and say some nice things for a second at a certain point. But I've been sent these videos of Rick online. One wishing somebody that's getting married the best of luck and how great marriage is. And the other, in a much more inebriated fashion, mispronouncing a kid named Bart, calling him Barf, slurring, badly slurring words, clearly 3 sheets to the wind. Word to Rick, if somebody's paying you $600 for a Cameo to wish them well in their marriage, do it when you're sober, bro. And I can be sympathetic to the addiction part of it. And I truly am with Rick and anybody that suffers from that, having been through it. Take a shot or two to ease yourself. Go out, meet the fans. Give the fans your time. Give them the respect that they've earned following your career. When you're getting $600 to do a Cameo, same thing. Be as sober and in the moment as much as you possibly can be. And just before you hit send, just to make that money, just watch it back. And if you're cringing like I cringed watching it, by the way, I also cringe at times when I watch my own matches. So it's not just the criticism of Rick. I've always said that we're our own worst critics. I hate watching my matches back because I see every mistake I make, and there's lots of them in every match. But when you're going to take $600 from somebody, or $6 or 60 cents from somebody, give them their money's worth on that. Show them at least that much respect. Because here's the bottom line basic fact of what we do. We get blessed every time a fan comes to that table to spend their money. We get blessed every time a fan comes to that table and says, oh my God, you're my favorite wrestler, or I hated your guts. Those are both the same thing to me and Francine. Some people have a different take on it. They see themselves as the gift, how lucky it is for you to be meeting me. And, bro, like, come on, seriously. I mean, we, in what we do, I saw Bono from U2 one time make a comment. I think it applies to us in this business. I watched my mother and father work blue-collar jobs, my dad on the railroad, Penn Central, then Conrail, for over 40 years before he retired from that and then did odd jobs, bartending, bowling alley, that kind of stuff. And I watched my mother put 32 years into a factory that smelled putrid of hydrogen every night. And it, even as a 12-year-old kid, it struck me. My mom has to come in and do this to feed me? She deserves every ounce of my respect. And I went to college because I knew I wasn't tough enough to do what my mother did or even what my father did. And so I had to go the little easier route, to not get quite as many calluses on my hands. So to Rick, just watch the video back, brother, and ask if your son or your daughter, your grandson, granddaughter, were paying $600 for this. Would you think they got their money's worth? Would you think you showed them the respect that they deserve from having followed your career for decades, cheered you on, followed you, bought Ric Flair merchandise, bought a Ric Flair picture, autograph, story, a cameo, whatever. Those people are putting money. I understand some in our business have forgotten who they really are. I am very much still Troy Martin, who grew up in that household, poor, and wouldn't have changed a thing because it taught me the things that made me who I am. And it taught me to respect every fan that comes to that table, or if I were doing cameos, to buy that cameo, just watch it back for a second, because what I see is completely cringy. And I know behind the facade, Rick wants to give off he's the nature boy, woo, and all that. Richard Flair is buried in there somewhere. But now, to be sympathetic, I said I would say some nice things about Rick. It breaks my heart when I see a video like that, because Rick was the measuring stick of our business. Right now, Ric Flair should be the elder statesman of this incredible industry called professional wrestling. He truly was that measuring stick, head and shoulders better than everybody. And he's made a king's ransom, far more than most of us in this business. And he earned it. He earned it by doing 40, 50, 60 minutes every night in that ring and being that machine. So he deserves that respect, but I think he flouts it and sort of sloughs it off. Like, that ain't important. What's important is that you're getting the chance to meet me right now, because I walk on water. Full story, I don't. I sink up to my knees like everybody else does when I walk on water, or try to. My shit stinks probably worse than most others. And the skeletons I have in my closet are probably a lot more severe than most have in theirs. So I'm not going to put myself on any pedestal and pretend that I walk on water, but you can clearly see Rick is suffering. And I can already see the promo he's going to cut on me afterwards with this. Fuck you, franchise. If he says it, I'm sorry he says that and doesn't hear what I'm saying here. As somebody who's been through physical dependence, as somebody who's been through addiction, and knowing how almost impossible it was to fix that, to get off of it. The fact that I was able to, I certainly take the credit for it. I did the heavy lifting, but I would not have been able to do it if not for the support I had around me. And the fact that fans still care and I can still make a living at this business, that is not lost on me. But when I see Rick, you can clearly see a man, a luminary in our industry, melting down literally in front of our camera. If he could wave a magic wand and not be alcoholic and be clean of that shit and see the beauty in his grandkids' faces, the wonderment of what his daughter's accomplishing in the business he chose, marvel in that. The millions of fans around the world that love the Nature Boy Ric Flair and don't want him to walk out to go watch a football game, more so than meet them. It breaks my heart. And there's a part of me that feels to reach out to say, I look at what DDP did with Jake and Scott Hall. Respect, brother, because you've got some kind of magic somewhere. Because if somebody would have told me somebody could sober up Jake and Scotty before he passed, I'd have laughed in your face, because I didn't think it was possible. So what Dallas is doing certainly works. There's some kind of magic ingredient in there. And I'm sure the same could be said of Rick. Rick, you can clean yourself up. You can get over that. And the crazy part about it is, I was just talking to Chris Masters and interviewing him yesterday for my Appalachian Expose segment. And the whole point of how hard it was to get off of it. But once you did, and it sounds sort of like a little bit awkward, like to the guy with the masterpiece, the franchise, saying, yeah, I started noticing the smell of cut grass in the neighborhood, the smell of a blooming flower, noticing how beautiful a sunset was. For 5 years, I didn't pay attention to any of that shit. Only OxyContin. I was crazy, insane for 5 years. And to somehow be able to just keep on going and saying, hey, why get off OxyContin? Gonna kill me? Okay, gonna kill me. Me and death don't get along. I'm really allergic to dying. Like I'm allergic to bullets. I'm allergic to shivs. I break out of terrible hives when I die or when I have a gun put in my face. Rick, the same thing. There are sunsets out there that are, brother, beautiful. The smell of cut grass is incredible when your senses are clear. The smiling faces on your grandkids' faces, in my case as a father. Dude, there's nothing in the universe as great as that. Nothing. Watching your son in his final high school game as a lineman run 96 yards for a touchdown. Nothing in my life I've ever accomplished was cooler than that. And nothing in the universe would be more interesting to me than being there and watching him accomplish that. Rick, you have all that. You have the keys to the kingdom, to watching your grandkids be raised up, become the young men and women they will become. Watching your daughter excel in the business that you chose decades ago. Watching fans want to pay big money to come see you. Who cares if Sting has a longer line? You made Sting Sting. You had a hand in that. That's kudos to you, brother, not, hey, fuck you fans, I'm leaving because there's more of you than me. Whew. Please reach out to help from somebody, brother. Be the elder statesman. Be the ambassador to the world for professional wrestling, because you certainly are that and should be that. The wrestling fans want to see you around for a long, long time, Rick. Give it to them and enjoy your life along the way. That whatever's in the bottom of that glass can fuck off. It ain't as beautiful as those grandkids. It ain't as beautiful as fans wanting to come pay their money to see you. Don't turn your back on them. Clean yourself up. Enjoy it. Revel in it. Wallow in it. Marvel in it. You've earned that as the nature boy Ric Flair. Newsflash, the franchise ain't never taken that from you. Can't. Nobody else can take that from you. Only you, Rick, can get clean. Only you can make that decision. Only you can decide to give those fans that have poured millions into your pocket for years. Because let's be clear, there's no promoter that booked you and paid you big bucks because no fan loved you or wanted to follow you. They gave you those big bucks because those fans were going to tune in to watch you. We're going to pay money to come see you. Give those fans their money worth. Live life, brother. I mean, my God, it's an incredible thing. And for us in this life, like Bono said one time in U2, I've lived a better life than more than 99.9% of every human that's ever lived in history. We're in that fraternity, brother. Maybe not quite to that peak, but we're one nudge down from it. And in my book, that's a pretty cool thing to have fans that still care. If you need help, brother, reach out. If not, do it on your own, but do it because those grandkids won't be small forever. Charlotte won't be in the ring performing at peak levels forever. And wrestling right now, in my humble opinion, needs that elder statesman. It needs that ambassador to the world to get back to the sport we remember it to be. You could do that, Rick. So for you fans that have tuned in, love to hear what your thoughts are. If anybody out there is around Rick and he wants to reach out, let him, help him. And let's all hope that next year in 26, we see a cleaned up Ric Flair. Woo! Nature boy, styling and profiling again, being the ambassador to the world and the elder statesman of an incredible industry that we all reside in called professional wrestling. I love you guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Rick, reach out. And let's all have a great, happy, healthy, and most of all, prosperous 2026 for the world and for each of us. I love you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next year.